inspiration for Tortured Memories, it didn't start out being called Tortured Memories, but after I had recorded this series of sounds, that's what it evoked. I've been a musician all my life, and I have a really large collection of musical instruments, and they have been the targets, the fodder for a lot of sound design experimentation in the movies that I've made. I mean, I've turned tubas into spaceships and wind wands into helicopters, and I realized that as I was designing those sounds for other movies in the past, there were always moments when I was not doing something musical with the musical instrument that created this just alien texture, this just weird sound that made me feel a certain way. And I decided that I wanted to build a library by abusing musical instruments, or at least using them in ways that they were not intended. And that's a good deal of the sounds in this library started life as my manipulation of a musical instrument to make it do something it wasn't supposed to do. Now, some of them are raw right out of the box. Some of them are heavily processed with reverb and delay and equalization to give them an even more dreamlike or maybe unsettling characteristic. I love that recording. I can't remember if that is my flute or my shakuhachi. Does it say?
It says a call from the past.
Oh, then that's a flute. And I gave all of these sounds very poetic names because when I hear that sound, all I did was record for a year and then built this library and then reviewed it a year later and thought, well, how does that make me feel? And that was, if I heard that sound in a movie, I would think, that's my long deceased ancestor wanting to communicate with me and tell me something. So that's why I gave it that name.
It's called Angry Sneakers.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was me abusing the strings on my grand piano. I think those are metallic scrapes across the bass strings, which have these very, very deep ridges in them. They're like serrated, and so you scrape, but you get that great zing kind of sound, and then a really rich, deep reverb. I love this one. You know, it's been a couple of years. That's either me tapping on the bout of my guitar and miking inside the sound hole to get a little kind of acoustic resonance, or it's me tapping on the side of the piano. It's definitely a wooden surface with a very soft either mallet or my finger just going tick, 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 tick.
It's called Teardrops.
That might have been from the piano abuse session. I think that was I think that's a mallet on the side of a soft mallet on the side of the piano. Yeah, now I believe those are cello groans. That's heavily, heavily rosining a bow, and then tuning down the fourth string to an octave below what it normally is, so that you get a lot of vibration on the string. It wobbles a lot, and just dragging the bow across the string, and you just get that kind of grinding, woody, almost like a horn. It sounds more to me like a a foghorn.
That's what it's called, Valhalla Fog Horns.
Oh, those are the cello groans. Yeah, it was amazing to think that a stringed instrument all of a sudden is transported into this other realm of the orchestral universe, depending on how you mic it and how you manipulate it. This group of sounds are going to be, I think, really useful anytime you have a dream sequence, or a nightmare moment, or a horror sequence. These are great at building tension or dread, or even sadness. There's a deep component of long, rich reverbs that just feel like you're in the past for some reason, and something's come to speak to you or to haunt you. That's sort of the first instinct, I think, for these sounds, is to use them for those non-diegetic moments, sounds that evoke a feeling and they have nothing to do with what you're seeing on screen. A lot of this was using instruments in ways they're not meant to be used. So I have this really cool magnetic vibrator that I would put on stringed instruments, and the magnets cause the strings to vibrate in an unusual drone. Those were kind of cool. And I did a lot of processing sounds through things. So I have this gigantic sousaphone. You know, it's like a tuba, but with a bell this big. A sousaphone is the tuba you use in a marching band. So I would play sounds in the mouthpiece end, like I'd put a little teeny speaker in the mouthpiece, and then process it through the tuba, and then record it at the bell. So I wasn't actually playing the sousaphone. I was using it as like an environment to process sounds through.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I did that with a didgeridoo. I had a lot of fun. I taught myself to at least breathe a didgeridoo. I'm not a player. And I did a lot of that too, where I would put sound sources at one end of the didgeridoo and get that kind of pitched. I had a didgeridoo in the key of D, and so everything that came out had the D resonance on top of it, making a non-tonal or musical sound suddenly tonal by processing through the device or the instrument.